Is it a date or is it a hangout? Hi there, men's dating coach Harry Wilmington here, founder of IntrovertDatingSuccess.com, and on today's show, we're answering a question from a Reddit user that wants to know if a woman that he asked to hang out with him is going to think of this as a hangout or a date. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Harry Wilmington to be notified when I post up new videos. So I came across this post on Reddit and I thought it'd be worth answering because this week we're talking about how to modify your mindset, and it's based on a new 5-day email course that I have available for free by going to introvertdatingsuccess.com/modify your mindset. And it's important because if your mind is not in the place where it needs to be in order to see really what's out there and to understand the way dating works, then your efforts are going to be for naught. You're going to be very disheartened and you might think that dating is not worth it altogether. And what can also happen, as we're going to see today, is that when you start to do certain things like asking women out and asking them to spend time with you, you're going to be thinking on one end that you got the date, but you're not really sure if you got the date and if it should even be called a date in the first place. And we're going to talk about why that is through this guy's message. So if you guys want more helps and tips on how to get out of that mind frame where you're thinking negatively about dating and really think about effective ways that are going to allow you to attract women, then again, introvertdatingsuccess.com/modify your mindset. All right. Also, we're doing 5 shows this week because we're very, very close to Valentine's Day. And for those of you guys that are single and don't have anybody, I want you to get the knowledge that you can need in order to attract women, so that way next year you'll be able to celebrate Valentine's Day the right way. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this guy's message. It's a very short message, but I'll go ahead and get to it. So he says, the title is it a date or hanging out? And he goes like this. He says, I'm finally feeling like myself after a decade of depression. I'm 30. I met a girl at the bar last week. She is definitely outgoing, talks to everyone older, younger guys and girls, whatever. Seems like a free spirit. She came by and sat by me and played the little game machine that nobody plays till the end of the night. This guy is starting to get what I call really good buying signals, okay? And this is an important thing to understand, is that if you're not in the right frame of mind, meaning you're not really sure of yourself as a dater and you're not really understanding of what things women will do to indicate that there's an interest there, then you might miss out on signals that women throw you to indicate that they like you. So this part right here, she's like, she came by him and just sat by him. He didn't ask her to come over. Out of everybody in the bar, she decided to come over to this guy and sit with him until the end of the night. So you got to ask yourself, is a woman that is not having any kind of interest in you going to seek you out, sit next to you, talk for hours on end up until the bar closes? That is not something traditionally that a woman's going to do unless she's thinking, hey, this guy's kind of cute, he's kind of funny, he seems kind of interesting, let me know more about him. He says she's got to be between 21 and 25. Haven't got into the details with things, but I asked her to hang out, and we will tomorrow at a mini golf batting cage arcade place. So one, I'm wondering where that's open during a pandemic, but besides the point. So again, girl he didn't know came by and sat next to him. He asked her to hang out the next day or whatever day it is. I don't know when he wrote this, when this thing happened, but she said yes to that. She agreed to go mini golfing and to an arcade place. And then he asked, is this a date or hanging out? Now it's interesting because the way he phrased it is, hey, we should hang out at this place tomorrow. And she said yes. So now he's wondering, what is her interpretation of these events? Okay. So here's the thing, guy, is that, again, strange woman, doesn't know you, had a good time with you, talked to you in the night, and now she's saying she's agreeing to go hang out with you someplace. Okay. Whether or not you decide to use the word date or hangout, this is a date, okay? Anytime a woman that you do not know is suddenly agreeing to spend time with you one-on-one in that kind of capacity, then that typically means that this is a situation that could be considered a date. If you're not calling it a date, because some guys fear the word date. They feel like if they say the word date, it's going to scare the woman away, and she's going to be like, oh my God, you're saying it's a date, but I don't know if I don't even want to be your girlfriend yet. This is why I try to tell you guys time and time again that asking for a date is not the marriage proposal stage, okay? This is not the end-all be-all. This is not you telling her you have all these feelings for her. It's not even asking her to be the girlfriend. It is simply an inquiry. It is saying, hey, I find you interesting. I want to be able to pursue this further in a one-on-one situation. Is that cool? And so many men out there are afraid to take this singular step. And there are women out there that are just like, doing things like sitting next to you at bars and talking to you to the end of the night that are probably like, if you would just say we can go out someplace, I'd be down for that. Because women are rarely going to make the first move. They still want to feel on some level that they are desired by you. And that means giving you hints that let you know, hey, I'd be down to spend more time with you, okay? So when that happens, you got to put it out there. Now, if you are afraid of the word date, you don't have to use the word date, but just know that in most women's minds, if you're asking them to a one-on-one scenario, in their eyes, it typically means you're asking for a date. Here's the important thing though. If you ask her to do an activity by your guys' selves and she says yes, that lets you know that despite her knowing you're probably trying to ask for a date, she agreed to it. Why would she do that? Because she probably sees you as a viable candidate to go out with, and also wants to have that time with you one-on-one to see if that's true, okay? So these are all big things. But again, if you're not recognizing of that, you might ask her for a hangout and just think that I said hangout, not date, so she's not gonna expect it to be a date, so whatever. And it's not that that can't happen. Like there is a small chance that a woman might think you really are just going to go hang out. But even with that being true, a small percentage of them would still go through with the hangout. They'd get home and they'd be like, oh, he wanted to hang out, but I'm not really feeling him like that, so I don't want to lead him on. And then she'd probably cancel. So the fact that she's not trying to cancel and that she agreed to it and some other stuff I'm about to tell you guys should indicate to this guy that this is a thing where this woman is possibly interested in dating him. So after he asks if this is a date or hangout, he says, she seems the type to kind of hang out with whoever just for a fun time. But she said things like she doesn't know how to mini golf, so she's going to need help. Read that again. She said this. She said she doesn't know how to mini golf, so she's going to need help. Now, I wrote this guy back, and what I said to him was, think about this. Most girls by age 5 can mini golf. Mini golf is not actually a hard activity. You hold a putter and you tap a ball. It goes in a direction towards a hole and eventually goes in a hole. None of that's hard. So if a woman is saying to you, hey, by the way, I'm going to need help, what does that tell you about her interest? Well, what does helping her with mini golf entail? You got to stand behind her. You got to put your arms around her arms and your hands on her hands to be able to help guide her and kind of almost hug her in a way to be able to get that ball to the hole to help her out with her swing. Does a 21 to 25-year-old girl really need help with golf? So if that's not the case, why is she saying that? What she is saying in her passive way is, I'm going to give you permission on this date to hug me and to touch me and to feel up on me and for me to be in your embrace. Women that don't want you are not going to say things like that, and they're not going to agree to that kind of date where that could possibly happen. So then he says, I'm having a hard time thinking that a significantly younger and beautiful woman is serious about dating me. Is this a date or a hangout? And this right here is what I'm trying to get to. The mindset. The mindset that you have, not just about her, but about yourself and your ability to qualify yourself to date certain kinds of women. So this guy who is 30 years old goes into a bar, meets a woman that's 21 or 25. She sits down next to him. She talks to him for 2 hours until the bar closes. He asks to hang out. She says yes. She says, by the way, I'm going to need some help in this golf date. So I'm going to need your help to be able to help me swing and hit a ball into a hole. And even with all of that, he's still saying, but I just can't believe that a woman this young and this attractive would date me. And why is that? Because of his mindset, because he's not thinking that a guy like him, for whatever reason, whether it's how he looks, whatever his station is in life, he's not feeling as if he lives up to a standard that a girl this hot and this age should be wanting a guy like him. And that is why it's so important that you understand that your mind plays the biggest part in whether or not you're going to be able to A, attract women, and B, attract the kind of women that you actually desire. Because think about it. This girl, based on me reading this situation, if I'd have been this guy, I'd have been looking at this like this girl was throwing herself at me. She came over and talked to me. The bar's closing down and she still wants to talk to me. She wants to exchange information. I'm saying, let's go hang out on this thing. She's already suggesting that we're going to be doing physical things on this date. Like all these things would have been like, it's good to go. And so this is what I try to tell you guys is that regardless of how you feel about yourself, your opinion of yourself only matters in the sense that it's going to affect your view of life and your view of what kind of women are going to find you desirable and what kind of dating life you can have. But other than that, your opinion about yourself does not actually matter. All that matters is the opinion of the woman that is saying yes to you when you ask her for a date. So if you ask a 21 or 25-year-old hot-looking woman to hang out or go on a date, and she says yes, it is not your job to try to go in there and try to argue with her about why you don't actually qualify to date her in the first place. Nor is it your job to then go in your head and say, well, she said yes, but this isn't right. Like, I got to make sure I mess this up because I'm not, she shouldn't want a guy like me. Like, dude, why do you think that you are not worthy for this kind of woman? And understand, for as much as you think that a woman that is hot and pretty is trying to qualify you, most women are usually in their heads all day, second guessing themselves and worrying about how the world is judging them and their station in life and a whole bunch of things that you don't even know about. So while you're thinking that this woman is probably thinking she's out of your league, she's thinking, I just want a guy that's going to come by and think that I'm pretty and it looks like he cares for me and is going to treat me right. And there's plenty of guys out there that will not do that. So she comes across you and thinks you could be that guy. That might be the only qualification that you need in her eyes to get on a date at the very least, okay? So all this to say, guys, you have to stop disqualifying yourself and thinking that you're not good enough. But this all starts with how you think about dating, not just about yourself, but also about how you think about how attraction works, how you think about the way in which women find you attractive versus how you find yourself attractive, the ways in which you think dating should work versus how it actually works. And so that's why it's important for you to get your mind right first before you go on dates so you'll be more confident. And so if you go to introvertdatingsuccess.com/modify your mindset, you can opt into my it's a free 5-day mini course. It's about 2 hours worth of audio overall that span of 5 days. That's going to give you some insights about your brain, how you think about dating. I have a couple of interviews with some other dating experts that really talk about how to get rid of anxiousness, how to approach women in a way that they're going to find receptive, and all these other things that you need to put yourself out there on the front lines of dating and be able to win successfully. So get that program, okay? But hopefully this podcast has helped you out figuring out once and for all why it is that women will sometimes find you more attractive than you find yourself, and whether or not a date is a hangout or a hangout is a date. Because ultimately, if she's saying yes to spending one-on-one time with you, that's all that really matters. Now, as you're on this date or hangout, you can be making moves that escalate her attraction to you, like I talked about in an earlier show this week about the CAP system, whereby you're building comfort, you're building attraction, and you're using patient persistence. But yeah, when you do those things on these hangouts or dates, it can lead to her having real feelings for you, having a budding attraction, and wanting to do things that go beyond just a date or a hangout. Thank you for watching this episode of the Introvert Dating Success Show. If you found the info in this episode to be helpful, please show your support by clicking on the tip jar tab, the link of which can be found at the website and in the description below. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment on this episode and catch new episodes every Monday and Thursday right here on YouTube or wherever podcasts can be found. In the meantime, be sure to check out other episodes so you too can date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.